Great news, folks. I am excited to announce what I will be doing in 2025. If you remember, folks, way back at the beginning of 2024, I said I need to do something hard every year to feel accomplished. And in 2024, that was running the Las Vegas Marathon, which I trained for, planned for, and successfully completed. I've got the gold medal to prove it. Well, for 2025, I'm going to do something even harder. I'm going to work with a professional to figure out how I can get healthier. I am currently 52, will soon to be 53. And let's just say I don't have the same energy. I don't have the same lots of things as I did as a 20 or 30-year-old. I am probably in the worst shape of my life at this point. So I'm going to work with somebody. You're going to come along with the journey. We're going to ask some questions. Hopefully all of us get inspired. All of us get a little bit healthier in 2025. And I'm going to do this with Dr. Jeff Gross. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me. This will be a fun journey. Let's do it.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Again, we met, shout out Lisa Sutton. Lisa Sutton is a Vegas resource I work with. She is amazing. She's actually speaking at my event in February. So shout out Lisa. You and I had some conversations about 50-year-olds running marathons. You have run several. I came in for a consultation, and that conversation we had, you were so gracious, you were so giving, really sparked the idea of, you know what, after this marathon, I really got to focus on getting healthy. And there's just so much there. There's so much stuff out there for, getting healthy these days. And I just need to work with a professional, because if I didn't get any help, I wouldn't get any better. So thank you for going along this journey with me.
This will be great. If we can help you and others learn from this and expand on what they can do for their health desires, not just their needs, but their desires of where they want to be 10, 20, 50 years from now, we have to do the work, the hard work.
Yeah, exactly. Do the work. That is my thing. So why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do? And then we'll just get into this, folks.
Yep.
We didn't plan for this. He's just going to ask me a bunch of questions. We're all going to get educated together. This is going to be done live. But who is Jeffrey Gross, Dr. Jeffrey Gross?
Well, I'm a traditional physician. I practiced over 25 years as a neurosurgeon with a fellowship in spine care. So I did thousands of, consultations, second opinions, treatment plans for people with neck and back problems. I also did my share of brain trauma, brain tumors, aneurysms, all kinds of things. But my real love was the spine. But I noticed a few things, and what I noticed is a lot of my patients didn't fully resolve their problems from non-surgical treatments like therapies, physical therapy, chiropractic care, massage type therapies, self-training therapies, yoga, what have you. They did not get all the way better, some of them with medications, which we try to avoid. They did not get better always with therapeutic injections such as epidural injections. You may have heard that word. Mm-hmm. And then they come back and say, yeah, I'm not better. I still have this problem. I can't do this activity. What's next? And I say, well, the next thing on the menu is talk about surgery. And they say, well, wait a minute. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, I'm not in that much pain.
And I'd say, great, because I really didn't want to offer that to you, because I've always been non-surgical, because no one better than your surgeon knows how to help you avoid surgery. So, but there was a gap. There's this gap between surgery up here and non-surgical down here. And that gap, it wasn't being filled well. Although there are great ideas out there, it wasn't being filled because there's so many entities and companies that make money from the two edges of the gap. The big
right.
Pharma down here at the bottom, the pain physicians, the therapy people. And up here would be the implant companies, the hospitals, things like that. So patients would say to me, how about this? How about that? How about lasers? How about this? How about stem cells? Mm. And I heard stem cells enough times, and I have an undergraduate background in that field, and it just kind of got put to the side while I, got whisked into medicine and did my thing. And the nerd in me wanted to come back to that. So instead of going to the annual neurosurgery, nerdy meetings, bow tie wearing guys slapping themselves on the back for doing the same old thing from drinking the Kool-Aid for decades, I started going to stem cell meetings and regenerative medicine meetings. And I'm interchanging these phrases and words to educate here. that to learn new things. And I said, this is amazing. I can offer it to my spine patients as an option before surgery, short of surgery, but it has opened up doors to so much more. And you can't go into stem cell medicine without going into, joint care and anti-aging and inflammatory disease care and things like that. So in a short 6 years, my practice has changed significantly. And now we are applying regenerative medicine and anti-aging techniques and biohacking, we call, or someone recently wanted to rebrand that as bioharmonizing, if biohacking sounds a little too hard for you.
Bioharmonizing, it's kind of.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. And I convinced her. I said, do you drink a cup of coffee in the morning? She said, well, yes, I do. I said, well, you're biohacking, you're jump starting your system every morning. That's biohacking. So I have been reawakened. This is a version 2.0 of my practice. You and I came in contact through the wonderful Lisa Song Sutton here in Las Vegas, who is a force to reckon with. And
no doubt.
She's been a wonderful patient, colleague, friend, and introduced us and others for people who want to look outside the box, think outside the box, act outside the box, and get results for their desires. So there's health needs and health desires. Your health need might be stay healthy. Your health desires might be to function more optimally, to set up your body the cells, make them healthier, to live longer, not just longer, but healthy longer, health span. So hopefully we'll talk about that. We'll learn about it. We'll talk about all the different techniques. We'll employ them, and we'll kick your butt, so to speak, into taking a man in his 50s so he feels in his 30s.
I look forward to this. Again, my hope for everybody, just like every content I create on this channel, is I'm bringing you in my world. I'm being vulnerable, but hopefully it inspires others to ask questions. It asks, it hopefully sets you up to understand you don't have to feel the way that you feel. Hopefully you're inspired by what Dr. Jeffrey Gross and I talk about. You reach out to him or others in these kind of communities. Again, I'm willing to spend as well, right? I know I'm going to have to take a lot of baselining tests. I'm totally cool with that. I know there's a lot of questions you want to ask me. I'm totally cool with that. And I really look forward to seeing what we can get done in roughly 13 months, right? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to start this a little early on December 1st. And I look forward to all the guidance, the check-ins, the educations. I know we're going to do a couple of sessions with my school community just so they can get and ask some questions. So I just thank you for being willing to go on this journey with me. Where should we start? What do you want to ask, or what kind of test we're going to do? What's going on?
Let's start with a couple provisos. So first and foremost, you're willing to share your vulnerable private information. You're sort of giving.
I give you permission.
Yes. Yeah, we're permissibly sharing your private health information.
Correct.
Secondly, let's keep this as casual. So I'm Jeff, and that's how we'll go here. And we'll set up. At first, we need to know your baseline.
Correct.
What we're going to measure to get started, and then where we're going to measure at the end. So the different types of tests we want to do now, and where we want to end up. And there's going to be some money spent here.
Sure.
But you don't need to spend the millions of dollars that Brian Johnson spends in his anti-aging journey to get 90 to 95% of that. Okay. So let's do a little survey of where we are with Michael Zuber. Okay. And then we're gonna go through your lifestyle, so to speak. It's a vague word. And we're going to look at, based on that, we'll look at what tests we want to do to get started and where we're going to go from there. So let's start with your basics. Okay. So give us a day in the life of Michael Zuber. What time you wake up, what you eat during the day on average. What your activities are, how long you are sitting at your desk, what your exercise looks like or doesn't. Now that you're done with your a marathon and all that.
A lot less running.
Yeah. Okay. Ready? Yeah. And I'll make a few notes because we'll come back to it, but go ahead.
Okay. So my and this is really kind of post 50 because my lifestyle was very different before 50. And I'm just not the same guy. So I still wake up ridiculously early without an alarm clock. I'm up, let's call it average 6 a.m.
Okay.
Again, no alarm clock. I haven't had an alarm clock for a decade. I get up, I have some coffee in the morning.
Okay.
I typically do not consume my first meal until 11:30 to 12:30, right? So
Okay.
I'm fasting without knowing it's, I didn't do that because it was a thing. I just don't eat breakfast,
What's in your coffee? Let's back up. What's in your
just
coffee?
black.
Okay.
Just black.
No additives, no sweeteners, no
No,
nothing.
nothing. Just straight up hot black coffee.
Okay.
So typically in the morning, I will be sitting at the kitchen table. I'll be reading the financial news. I typically am there for an hour to 90 minutes. Because I produce content on YouTube 5 days a week. I then move to my studio, which I'm speaking to you now from one of my 2 studios. I typically sit here for 2 or 3 hours, right? Interviewing folks, having conversations. So that gets me to about 10:30, 11. I then go and walk the dogs before we have lunch. I would say that we eat out lunch probably 5 days a week. I would say my meals lean, carb heavy, right? Asian food dominates, Mexican next. So probably carb heavy, fat heavy, cheese in the Mexican food. I've never really thought about macros or anything like that. Typically have water. I'm not really a soda guy. I might have 2 cans of Diet Coke a month as an example. So not heavy. I kicked that habit in my 30s. So very water heavy. Then typically Olivia and I will go for a walk sometime in the early afternoon, walk being maybe a mile and a half, whether it's outside if it's sunny or inside a mall, to get some steps in, probably 4,000 steps or whatever that is. Nothing crazy. We do take a nap. We take about an hour nap in the afternoon, a lot, probably more, certainly a lot more than I did 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Then, after that, it's just up and around. We typically have dinner 6:37 ish in there. Again, kind of same as lunch. I will say we typically eat at home for dinner. I will say, unlike lunch, typically protein's a bigger part. So there'll be chicken and or red meat, a part of that, occasionally fish. Not really a big dessert guy. I do have a nasty sweet tooth. Like I can't have one M&M, right? I can have 0 or 50. Right.
Yeah.
So I lean towards 0. I would say I have sweets 3 times a month, like ice cream or a cake or something, but not a big part of my meal. Not a big alcohol guy, maybe 2 or 3 drinks a month out or something. Typically my drink of choice is rum and Diet Coke, not really a wine guy. So hard liquor would be my choice, but nothing crazy. And then I'm asleep by 10:30. I sleep really well. I can close my eyes and fall asleep very quickly. So sleep's not a problem.
All right.
So that's kind of the average. Now, as far as exercise, that's a big fall off. I mean, through 50, I could routinely, lift weights and exercise. You and I talked about doing CrossFit. That was a big thing of mine for 5 or 6 years. I have the setup in Vegas. I have a setup here in Mountain View. I just don't have the same desire. It's
okay.
I just don't have that same, grip it and rip it. The motivation's not there. It's drudgery. I haven't touched weight since I started marathon training, which was probably February or March. I just ran. I will say my weight's up more than it used to be. So feel free to ask for clarity on any and all.
I will.
Of that.
Okay. You did a great job, and we have a lot to work on, but there's also a lot of good things in there. So, and we're not going to completely make you miserable by removing your couple Diet Cokes or couple adult beverages here and there. You have good moderation. The goal is to build on the good stuff, and just make sure the bad, your 50 M&M days don't go crazy on that. So let's talk about how you track your life. What do you wear any type of health tech metric device, an Apple Watch or an Oura ring or something?
Nothing of that yet. Happy to get one. The only thing I was doing while we were marathon training was, looking at my steps and things of that, and that's
Good.
simply on the iPhone. But that's the extent of it. Nothing more than that.
Because we are going to want to track your health data through the year and
Okay.
look at numbers. We do want to track steps. We do want to track your resting heart rate. We do want to track your HRV. And for those listeners that haven't heard HRV, that stands for heart rate variability. And it's a different metric than resting heart rate. So for resting heart rate, if you're in great shape, your resting heart rate will be lower. Like elite runners have a resting heart rate, just sitting there. What's your heart rate? It's 49, 50 beats a minute, where the average person is probably up around 70. Right. So, and prove me wrong, I didn't look that up, but that's just
Makes sense.
Shooting from the hip. But healthier people tend to have lower resting heart rates because their heart's more efficient. They don't have to pump as many times a minute. Mm-hmm. But there is a newer metric called heart rate variability, which studies the beat to beat differences. So because when you look at a heart rate, you're looking at the average number of beats over a minute. And they're not exactly, like if your heart rate is 60, that doesn't mean you're having one heartbeat exactly every second.
Right.
The more variability, the better, as it turns out. It speaks to the communication between your nervous system, particularly your autonomic nervous system. Autonomic is the part you don't really control much. It's the involuntary. It's the one that makes your hair on your arms stand up in certain situations. It's that one. So it speaks to your ability of your body to rapidly adjust the heart as needed. For example, you're a zebra and you're just minding your own business, grazing on some tall grass, in the Serengeti, and a lion springs out 50 yards away and starts running at you full go. And you need to be able to, hit the warp drive and get out of the way.
Very quickly, yeah.
So you're looking for that heart to adjust quickly. And then once you outrun the zebra and you're far enough away and, outrun the lion gives up, you need to be able to go back to relaxed state as quickly as possible. That is a sign of health. And that's heart rate variability. That is...
Never heard of that. Very cool.
And Americans are so anxious and overstressed and cortisol surging through their veins because of the world we live in, that we struggle to have that. So the data scientists have looked at this, and the main contributors to healthy heart rate variability are sleep, workouts, exercise, and we'll come back to that, and toxins. So toxins could be alcohol. So if you had 2 rum and Diet Cokes on your birthday night and you come home the next day, if you ever notice this, if you drink too much alcohol, you don't sleep well. You might wake up and your HRV will go down. And that's a sign of poor health. And if you work out less, your HRV will be down. If you have a cold or flu, your HRV will be down. If you don't sleep well for some reason, your HRV will be down. There are people that look at their HRV and see a little downturn 2 days before they get the flu. So it is an early warning system. It is a wonderful health metric. You learn from it to change your behavior in terms of all these different things. And, we'll talk in more detail about how well you sleep. We'll talk about, and we may nudge these during this journey this year. We may start out, if I throw you 1,000 things at the beginning, it's going to be overwhelming. So we'll do this as a curriculum, and we'll start simply. But we want to measure HRV. Now, what devices can we choose from? Well, the Apple Watch now does it, but you got to wear it 24/7.
Okay.
Some people don't like to wear a watch at night. The Whoop band will do it. In fact, the Whoop data scientists have probably led the charge on this. The Whoop band, however, you have to wear 24/7. So people don't like a wrist or ankle thing during that time. The Oura ring and other competitor rings will do it, and it's easier to wear a ring 24/7. So we need to pick a device. We need to have you order the device.
I will do that.
So I'm keeping a homework list. So by the time we hit the ground running here, now the Oura Ring has a subscription charge. The Whoop Band has a subscription charge. So I do want to be able to keep this. I am cost sensitive with all these things because you are going to spend some money here, and so the Apple Watch is probably going to be the least expensive way to do it. There's no subscription.
Okay. All right.
And it communicates with your iPhone, and you pull up your little health, metric app, and it'll show you your HRV, and you have to collect a good 30 days of data before it's valid enough, and then we will look at it over time. Every time if we meet monthly to do a follow-up recording, we'll look at that data. Maybe you'll provide it ahead of time so I can blow up the graph and share it. Okay. So if you're willing to wear it 24/7, now here's a challenge. To charge the Apple Watch, you have to take it off. So we're going to lose data. We're going to lose sleep data. We're going to do a sleep app. So that might be a reason against the Apple Watch. So if you're open to a subscription, maybe we rethink the Oura Ring.
Let's do the Oura Ring. Rings are easy to wear. Again, this will be something we give content on. So AKA tax write-off to the IRS. So it's okay. So we're going to do the Oura Ring. So I'll need to buy one of those. Okay.
So, it's OURA. I don't make any money from mentioning it here. So you go to Oura Ring, they have designer ones. There are competitor brands, doesn't need to be Oura, but Oura has good data. I believe there's an app on your phone you download. I believe there's an online version. We'll find a way for us to share that data so that I can pull out graphs and charts along the way and study that with you. Okay. So we're going to go with Oura. Okay.
Yep.
It also monitors your sleep quality, and we'll look at that as well. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, do you take any vitamins or supplements? Because we've met before, and we may have talked about that. So I don't know if you do. Okay.
No. Yeah, I know zero. Again, just give the complete picture. I did do protein shakes and the like when I was hitting the gym more frequently. Haven't done that in more than a year. So don't take any vitamins, medicines. Don't have any prescriptions. Take nothing regularly.
So we're going to start you on some basic supplements.
Okay.
But I don't want to do it until after we get some labs. I really want to see you at your
baseline
tabula rasa, your blank slate. And then we're going to build up. We'll start simple, because if I give you 30 pills, you're not going to take them. But we'll get you to the point where you're packaging your daily regimen like I do. Okay. And we will put you on a course that's specific to you. Some of them won't be. And the goal of most of the endeavors is to improve your cellular health in a way that suppresses, reverses the cell pathways that support chronic inflammation. We want to go away from chronic inflammation. And I'm separating that from acute inflammation. We need acute inflammation. Like if you cut yourself, you need the right cells to come repair that cut. So that's acute inflammation. But the problem is, as we get older, the acute inflammation doesn't turn off. It leaks into this chronic inflammatory state, and you get accelerated aging, you get disease formation, and all kinds of things. Stem cell activity and a lot of the things we're going to do are to support your stem cells and your other cells so that everything works more in a more youthful, restorative, regenerative state.
I look forward to that. Okay.
Okay. Very good. So the goal here is not to employ pharmaceuticals, but every now and then we use a little something here and there, sometimes to strategize what we're doing. So we've got a device in mind. We're going to get that. We're going to do some basic supplements, but we're going to do some lab tests. And there are a couple different ways to look at labs. And the first time, I think we're going to do some rather comprehensive labs.
Yep.
And we're going to look at a lot of inflammatory markers. We're going to look at some basic health labs, since if you haven't had that in a while.
I have not.
Okay, so we'll do this. We'll look at your labs. It'll be a starting place. It'll help guide us. The labs will include testosterone level. You've talked about, you know, your motivation to work out and stuff isn't like it used to be. So I really want to look at, you know, testosterone. We're going to look at all your cholesterol and your fatty acids and your omegas and all that stuff. We're going to look at your inflammatory markers, and I will order all that at a lab convenient to you. You'll go get those done, and you know that will probably be a little bit of an investment, but a good one. And we'll repeat a lot of these at the end of the year, and maybe some of them in between. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Again, yeah, I'm willing to spend the money. I want to be better. And again, I just want to take the audience on the journey with us to see how we're doing. So I know I'm going to spend some money.
And then we want to do a biological age test. So let's talk about biological age here. So we know our chronological age because we can look on a calendar and know our birthday and all that. So, but what we don't know is how aged our cells look. And of course, our body is that age. And that's what we call biological or physiological age. So that's where you take, you know, thousands of people and you study certain changes. We'll mention those in a minute. Those changes in their cells and in the blood. And those changes, you say, okay, here are healthy 20-year-olds, here are healthy 30-year-olds, here are healthy 40-year-olds. Here's what those changes look like. And then we take a random sample, let's say yours, we throw it in there and say, where do you line up with these different patterns? And you know, a guy in his 50s would normally, if he's not doing anything specific, would line up in his 50s. If he's living hard, you know, drinking too many Diet Cokes and rum and too many M&Ms and you know, sitting around, some extra weight or whatever, he may be in his 60s. Or he may be running marathons and eating clean and getting his steps in, and he may be in his 40s. So the goal is to drive that number down. What I'd love to do is take 10 years off your biological age in the next 12 to 13 months.
I love it. I think that is a wonderful goal to have.
Okay. So there are two different ways to measure this. And one is through changes in the blood to the antibodies in your blood, and that's called the glycan age test. And I like that one because it's a lot like HbA1c is looking at blood sugar over the last few months. This is a chance for us to see something we can actually modify. The other one is changes inside the cell, like telomere length, and I throw out a bunch of these phrases. We can get into more detail if you desire, but you know, your DNA gets loose at the ends over time, and the, you know, that we want those to be more youthful length. There are also changes in your DNA called methylation, and that is another metric. A lot of these biological age tests correlate together, meaning if one is older, the other is older. So I don't always do all of them, but I've been a fan of the glycan age test personally. You can order a 2-pack. I guess there's a slight discount where you do one now, you do one in a year. So it's easy to do. These particular tests are usually either a cheek swab, or the glycan age is they send you a kit to your house. You prick your finger and you drip some blood on a card according to the instructions, and then you let it dry, and then you mail it in, and they redissolve your dried blood and get the results. So that's kind of makes that an easier test.
I'm down with that.
Okay, so we'll get that ordered up for you. And I think the 2-pack is like 500 something. So you're paying for both. Okay. And then I'd love to do something called body composition. A lot of people go to the gym and use the impedance test where your body fat percentage, but I'd like to do a more detailed one.
Sure.
Called a DEXA scan, and there are some imaging centers that'll do this, and it's usually a few $100 cash to go in. They'll tell you exactly how much muscle mass you have, exactly how much fat mass you have, because we need, especially as we are aging, we need to maintain and put on more muscle mass. So that's where we're going to look back at macros and things like that. So I'd like to order you a full-on body comp DEXA. It's a little more involved than a bone density DEXA, but we will also get some bone density results.
Yeah.
From you, although I don't expect you to have bone density deficits. We worry about that more in the female population, but older men can get it, especially if they're inactive.
Yeah. I look forward. This is one that I was looking forward to because I think it's another one we could set goals on. Like, hey, baseline is here, 13 months. Let's try to get here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we can set some goals and then let's see. I wanted to ask you about your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you sleep? How deep do you sleep?
Again, one of the things I'm uniquely good at is sleeping, right? I go down at 10:30. I'm like literally asleep by 10:30. Doesn't matter what's going on. And I think I don't stir until 5:30, 6 a.m. most days. But again, what is actually happening, no idea. But I think I sleep pretty well. Don't have a lot of stress. At least I don't think I have a lot of stress. But I guess we'll find out.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about that yet because we'll look at the sleep app on your Oura Ring.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to do some macro tracking for a little bit. We're not going to do this the whole year because it'll drive you nuts. So,
yeah.
I know you want to do something hard, and this is all going to be hard enough for you.
Okay.
But we should do some macro tracking now. We should make some adjustments, maybe test that at the 6-month mark, maybe, and then again at the end of the year. So there are some great apps, and I don't have one name for you right now, but let me find an app for you.
Okay.
So you may need to pay for an app on your phone. And I think they have some that are like you take a picture of what you're eating before you eat it, and it'll tell you your calories, your macros, all that stuff.
Done.
Are you still doing a protein supplement or protein shake?
No, not in a year. Yeah.
Let's do the macros first, and these will be areas for adjustment for us, is how we stuff that protein. Because I'm going to make this hypothesis that you're just not getting enough protein to maintain the muscle mass that we need to maintain. Okay?
I would agree with that. Just looking at what I eat. Yes.
Okay. And then we're going to tweak your exercise regimen, not to add a whole lot of time to it, but I'm hoping to look at your testosterone, maybe supplement it, maybe improve your motivation. We need to get some more weight-bearing stress than just walking. Yes. With steps, we need to increase the number of steps. We're not going to make these changes yet because I want to look at your step data at the baseline. So what we're doing in the next few weeks, I think we'll be gathering the data, seeing what your last 12 months looked like, and then we'll make the initial tweaks.
Okay.
Maybe in, just before the holidays.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
And that way, when you hit the ground running by January 1st,
exactly,
you're like ramping into it. So
that's the plan.
Okay. And then, but I think January 1st will be the effective start date of your biotransformation.
I like it.
Okay. So we need to do a journal of sorts. I don't care if it's on your computer or a written journal of everything we're doing and what the results are. For example, if we decide we're going to try some peptides 1 month, we have to track how you feel.
Okay.
And the problem is it can be very subjective. It can be very subtle, things like that. If we do something in the stem cell realm at some point, for muscle mass or bone density or something else. Speaking of which, how's your biceps tendon? We didn't talk about it.
Oh yeah, it actually did. It held up. I wasn't sore.
Okay.
And again, folks, if you don't know what he's talking about, it's the reason I went to see him. I had a left bicep tendon issue where running more than 12 miles, it was actually hard to move my arm. It was very painful. Like I had to push it down, and thankfully with stretching, like getting used to running 12 miles, running a marathon was a non-event. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt after. In fact, it probably was one of the only muscles that didn't hurt after finishing the marathon.
Good. Well, you're not running those long distances, and I don't know that we will. That's going to be part of this year. But
I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Okay. We probably need to do also just some basic weight and some photos, some body photos. So to the extent we can create a standard, front view, back view, side view, with you wearing the same pair of shorts or something.
Yep. Okay.
If you're willing to share that with your audience, or just
Sure.
me, and in the same place in your house, maybe you can have those taken, and we can do those periodically.
Yeah.
With the same lighting, same time of day.
Yep.
Okay.
I could do that.
Okay. So I'll let you, take a set of photos. We'll call that our standard method, and we'll look at that. You have a scale at home, a good one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we want a starting weight, height and weight, and I'll let you provide that. And I'm keeping a list here of things. Perfect. Let's see, diet. I love your intermittent feeding. So let's explain that. I'm trying to educate the audience, because I know you know, but one of the things that helps your body with health and longevity is called hormesis. Have you heard that word, Michael?
I have not. No.
Okay. So hormesis means a slight stress on your body's cells that is causing them to become more resilient and build a better body, better cells. So it also helps clear out the senescent older zombie cells that are kind of done dividing, done doing their job, but they're hanging out, taking up resources, and they need to go. So it's like taking out the garbage, right? So killing your own zombie cells is called autophagy, AUTOPHAGY, autophagy. And we need to stimulate autophagy. And one great way to do that is through hormetic activities. So, and then if you get rid of a lot of your older cells, you have a younger cell population. So you're effectively, biologically, a younger person. So given that explanation, hormesis comes through high intensity interval training exercise. It comes from fasting, and we might do some actual fasts in addition to intermittent fasting. We'll come back to that.
Sure.
It comes through hot sauna. It comes through cold plunges, things like that. And there are some medications that support it as well. But we'd like to add some of all of those. Do you have access to a hot sauna or a cold plunge?
So my pool in Vegas is going to be very cool for a while. It's probably going to be in the 50s. I could get a cold plunge in the master bathroom if I wanted. We have a red light. I don't think it's a sauna. It's a red light, single seat thing in Vegas. So I don't have access to a wet sauna. No, I don't.
It doesn't have to be wet. Do you belong to a health club or gym or something?
Not as of yet. No. Okay.
Are you open to that? Even if we just went there periodically to get the saunas in and do some?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. I'm willing to do what it takes at your advice. Yes.
So listen, cold plunges are cold. Hot saunas to me are a lot easier to do. The data from Finland on hot saunas is amazing, but you've got to we're talking 20 to 25 minutes or more, 3 to 5 times a week at 165 degrees plus. Woo! So my health club here, Lifetime, a little plug for Lifetime, they have a dry sauna and a steam. I go in the dry. It's 180 degrees. I can do 25 minutes. I've worked up to 25 minutes. I don't get there 3 to 5 times a week yet. I'm not perfect either, but I feel amazing for a few days after. So
now, do you bring water with you, like a drink of water? Or?
I don't bring water in there. People do. I just drink before and after.
Okay.
But I find that's one of my biohacks is the hot sauna. We're talking about maybe putting one in the house. But infrared doesn't get hot enough generally.
Yeah, it doesn't get that hot, no.
I'm not against infrared. Infrared's a great anti-inflammatory method. So maybe we'll employ that, but think on that, what you're willing to do.
Yeah, and again, I think you could buy single stall saunas, right? I just don't know if they get that hot. Do you know of one that gets?
No, you'd have to put in a traditional sauna attached to your house outside or something.
But yeah, I could do a lifetime or something for this. Again, I'm willing to do what it takes to see what improves over 12 months. So if that's a requirement, it'll happen.
Well, I know they have them here in Las Vegas. I don't know if you have one near you in Mountain View or what the option is. Yeah. Back in the day, I used to go to 24-hour fitness. Some of them had sauna, some of them didn't.
Okay. I'll hot sauna. I'll figure it out.
Okay. So we can try that. And you could also get a chiller for your master bathtub and do a cold plunge there. But man, I'd much rather sit in a sauna for
if you're telling me choose one, I'm going hot. I hate cold.
I'm saying we don't need to do both at this juncture.
Okay.
But if you feel like $1 million at the end of the year and want to go for 10 million next year, we'll talk about it.
We'll tweak that.
So,
okay.
We're not going to do a million things because you'll just say this is too much. So I'm trying to make small changes for big results with you.
Perfect.
That stick, that the changes stick and that the behaviors stick.
Okay.
So we'll add an actual fasting. Maybe we'll even start out with a fast. Okay. So intermittent fasting, I was going to come back to that. You do that. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I do very easily. It comes easy to me. I don't eat for a good 16 to 18 hours. So I usually start out at 12:30 with my first meal, except for a non-caloric beverage, whether it's dark coffee or dark tea or something without any additive. So I just like that. I feel good with that. It helps keep weight off. It helps support autophagy, which we talked about, getting rid of zombie cells. And it's just one of the biohacks I can do. Like it's a lot easier than a cold plunge for me to do that.
I was intermittent fasting before I even knew it was a thing. Yeah.
So we're supposed to be that way. We are not supposed to eat during the dark, first of all. But the problem is the world gets us home at 6:37. It's already dark here on the West Coast this time of year, and we've got 4 or 5 hours worth of stuff we're gonna do. We're gonna maybe do some work on the computer. We're gonna watch Netflix, whatever we're gonna do. So we tend to have a little food, even though we shouldn't, too late. So I like to push my first meal into, like you do, into the lunch zone. Even though it is lunch, we break a fast. So you can call it breakfast, you can call it lunch. I don't like to call it intermittent fasting. Why? Because you're not supposed to eat. It's just intermittent or time restricted feeding. It's probably a better phrase, but because when you start to take most people who eat for 18 hours a day, and you say we're not going to eat for 18 hours instead of eating. Sorry if I said that wrong. We're going to go from not eating for 8 to not eating for 18. To them, it's fasting. So we're going to continue that. I don't think I would tweak that at all. I will. Of course, I think you already alluded to the idea that you have too many carbs at your first meal. If you go to Europe and you go to other places in the world, their breakfast is protein. It's usually fish or ham or bacon or some kind of protein meal. Carbs are a food of convenience. During the Depression and the Dust Bowl here in America, people were starving, and grains were an easy way to get calories into people. So, and what you got out of that was cereal companies, and now they're under attack. So, we'll hopefully tweak a few things and make you think about what you're eating when you go out for your lunchtime meal. I also want to add, if for your walking, I love the walking. It's not just that you're walking the dogs and time with your wife and social thing you do, but I'd like to add steps to that. And there are studies, and we can pull up some of these studies that show, if you're getting more than 10 to 13,000 steps a day, you're likely to live longer. So you're not getting enough steps a day. And this isn't judgmental. I'm not either. It's hard. You have a job, you spend a lot of your time like reading, and then you spend some of your time, like this at the studio. Maybe we add a treadmill while you're broadcasting. Maybe we add a treadmill while you're reading in the morning. Maybe instead of reading the Financial Times, you find out a way to listen to the Financial Times. There are AIs that'll do that for you. You go for an early walk in the morning, and you listen to the Financial Times on your listening device.
I like it. Yeah. Again, I'm with your coaching and guidance, if you give me a number, I will track to that number.
Okay. Well, we're gonna bring up these ideas and see what you take to, see what's more different. I want to start out with some easy stuff that you can employ. 10 things on January 1st, and we embody those over a month, and you go, okay, I got this. Is no problem. Then we add a few, maybe one hard one, or they're all at the end of the year. I want a whole different person. So
you and me both, and I think the audience would love that as well. So perfect.
Okay, so we got sleep, diet, timing. What else did I want to cover with you? Number of steps. We need to add some weight bearing. So we're going to add some weight bearing. Whether it be high intensity calisthenics at home, or we mix it up with some weightlifting at the gym or something. We'll keep it simple. Like I don't want you to spend 90 minutes every day in the gym, saying, well, this is just workouts every day. I want to keep it simple. There are things you can do on your walk with some stretchy bands that we'll get. And what I'll do is I'll help find some of the stuff. I'll give you links, and then you can put it in your show notes. So if other people want to journey with us, and in fact, I'll send out this challenge now. If anyone wants to join us in this journey, we can give you individual tweaks and order labs for you as part of this. It's not going to cost you anything. We'll just do it. And then if you want, we can have times where we get the club of participants that can ask live questions and things like that.
Oh, that would be awesome. So folks, if you want to go on this journey with us, leave a comment below. I'll put up his website here in a minute, but I'd love to go on this journey with you. Let's get healthy in 2025. And we'll do group calls, right? We'll use the school community or something to do a group call and allow you to ask your individual questions. That is such a gift, Jeff. That's very nice of you to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. Is for education and to help get the word out there what we can do, and I can recommend all kinds of different supplements and things, and we can put all these things in the show notes if that's okay. I'll give
everything. You give it to me, I'll put them in the notes. It'll be the only thing.
Send you information as a summary, things we talked about, some examples of, like when we recommend vitamins and things. I'll give you some examples of where you can get them and what I normally use and what I normally pay for them. But do your homework and bring challenging questions. Because if we're going to get to vitamin D3, I'm going to recommend 10,000 IUs a day, and I'm going to push you beyond the lab limits. And someone's going to go, well, why is that? Why are you beyond the limits? And I'm going to tell you, because those limits are to help prevent malnutrition. And I doubt anyone listening has rickets. So
yeah, probably not. That's a safe bet.
We want to go beyond not being malnourished to being optimally nourished for health and longevity. So this is not what you will get at a standard doctor's visit. There are others like us who do anti-aging and cutting edge, super concierge stuff. But we're going to push that envelope and
I love it.
Go above and beyond and talk about these things. I think I've probably thrown enough ideas out there for today. Is there anything else you wanted to cover for the moment?
No, when I took on this challenge, I think there was a couple of things that, again, as a novice, one you brought up earlier, testosterone. I've certainly seen, I just don't feel like the same guy as 2 or 3 years ago, let alone a decade ago. One of my superpowers has always been the ability to focus. Even that has started to slip away, which, when you lose your superpower, that's just irritating. I would love to get total body composition. I can already tell you I have more fat than I've carried in a long, long time, heavier than I've ever been. Certainly not as I feel like, and again, it'll be interesting to see what the numbers say, on very unhealthy. I love the fact that you said yes to this crazy idea of a 12-month, 13-month commitment. I'm going to do my part and buy what you tell me to buy. I'm going to do whatever you say. Hey, here's the target. Go do that. And I look forward to seeing what happens in 12 months. Because again, 2025, my hard thing is to be a different person at the end of the year. It's going to be because of you. And hopefully the community jumps in and wants to go on this. And here's your website, right? If they want to learn more about you, it's Recelebrate. Did I say that right?
Yeah, re-celebrate because I'm doing regenerative medicine now, and we are celebrating the renewal of your cells, and that could be from intermittent feeding all the way up through stem cell type treatments, which we may get into towards the end of the year, because that's sort of the last step. Once you've made all the changes, your body is more receptive to these things.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate your time today. I know you took it out of your busy schedule to do this. Any closing thoughts?
We love the feedback. We love questions. We will address them openly at any time. If you want to bring us, hey, I saw this website. This disagrees with you. I saw this scientific study on PubMed. They think you're wrong. Let's use it to bring these controversies to light. Talk about all different sides of them. I may not have all the right answers, and we learn new things all the time, and things change. What we were thought at one point may be different now, and that's a lot of the time. But we're sort of crowdsourcing the controversies right here on your platform. So thank you for doing this. I think this will be good for a lot of people. We can educate, especially now we're having a political change in we'll call it the scripted sick care, hopefully opening up a lot of opportunities for preventative health, biohacking, this kind of thing. And biohacking is not a bad word. It means your cup of coffee in the morning is a biohack, right? It stimulates, it wakes up your brain. You read the Financial Times, and it's called a nootropic. And we'll talk about nootropics later. Maybe we'll find some different ones to mess with. And everyone is an experiment, and that's the practice of medicine. And you are, a study of one participant. N equals 1, we call that. Yep. So we will try things, and maybe they won't work, and we will back away and try something else. So that's how it works.
I love it. I love it, Jeff. You're an amazing guy. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for saying yes. You certainly didn't have to, but I know you have the same goal of educating, inspiring, and helping people. So I look forward to spending time with you all year.
Same.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Take care.